All right, Year 12 software engineering students, welcome. We're kicking off the most critical phase of your Hangman project, the planning. Seriously, everything you build from here on out, every feature, depends entirely on the foundation you create right now. So let's make sure it's absolutely rock solid.
So here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll talk about the #1 pitfall that sinks projects. Then, we'll look at the professional framework that stops that from happening. And finally, we'll get super practical with the two things you absolutely have to start today, your storyboard and your logbook. Let's dive in.
Okay, first things first. Let's talk about the biggest trap you can fall into as a new developer. It's this impulse, you know? It feels so productive, but it can completely sabotage your entire project before you've even written one useful line of code. So what is it?
The #1 mistake, hands down, is just jumping in and starting to code. It feels fast, right? Like you're making real progress. But trust me on this, it almost always leads to a total disaster.
When you dive into code without a plan, you get chaos. You get wasted hours, code that's tangled up like spaghetti, and a program that's just a mess. Professionals? Well, they do it differently. They always start with a blueprint.
So how do we get from that chaos to a clear blueprint? How do the pros do it? Well, they use a professional roadmap. It's a proven, structured process that guides basically every successful software project from beginning to end. And that roadmap has a name. It's called the Software Development Lifecycle, or SDLC for short. This is the industry standard. Think of it as the ultimate playbook that takes you all the way from a simple idea for your Hangman game to a polished, working product.
And just look at how the SDLC breaks the whole journey down. It takes this huge, intimidating task and chops it into manageable, logical stages. This makes sure nothing gets forgotten. For our project right now, we are laser-focused on those first two steps, requirements and design.
And I really want to drive this point home. Understanding this cycle isn't just, good practice. It's a core part of your assessment. Nailing this stuff directly hits outcome SE11-01 and proves you can think and work like a real software engineer. Okay, enough theory. Let's make this practical. Our very first tool fits perfectly into that design phase of the SDLC. This is your storyboard. And honestly, this is where your vision for the game starts to feel real. Your storyboard is basically your architect's sketch. It's a cool modeling tool that lets you visualize the entire flow of your Hangman game screen by screen before you've even thought about writing a single line of code. You get to map out the whole user journey.
For your Hangman project, your storyboard has to start right here. The very first screen the user sees should let them pick a difficulty, easy, medium, or hard. It's a simple, clear first step that sets the stage for the whole game.
Okay, so once they pick their difficulty, where do they go next? Your storyboard needs to show a clear path to the main gameplay screen. This is the heart of your game, right? It's where all the action happens, showing the word, the letters they've guessed, and their score.
And finally, every game needs a clear ending, no ambiguity. Your storyboard must show the two possible outcomes, a big "you win" screen or a game over screen. It's the final, clear conclusion to the user's experience.
And here's the bottom line. This matters a lot. Your storyboard isn't just some doodle you do for fun. It is a key deliverable for your project, and it's worth 5 marks. You get this blueprint right, you get the marks. Simple as that. All right, on to our second essential tool. And this is something you need to start right now and keep updating through the entire project. I'm talking about your logbook, which is the living, breathing story of your project.
I love this analogy. Think of your logbook as your captain's log from a spaceship. It is a mandatory, regular record of your entire development journey. It documents every decision, every challenge, and every breakthrough you have along the way.
So what does a professional entry actually look like? Well, check this out. It's structured and it's detailed. You don't just say worked on the project. You document what you actually did, the problems you hit, your stumbling blocks, how you solve them, and the exact resources you use to figure it out.
The big takeaway here is to be detailed and consistent. This is not a summary you can just fake at the end. It's a living document. And remember, writing down what went wrong and how you fixed it is just as important as listing your successes.
And again, just like the storyboard, this is not busy work. This fulfills a direct assessment requirement, outcome SE11.0. And yep, it's worth another 5 marks. This document is your proof that you can manage a project like a pro. Okay, so here's your first mission. Your task, starting right now, is to go from theory to action.
It is time to build that strong foundation we've been talking about since the very beginning.
To nail this first phase, you have got to be resourceful. I mean, really dig into your course specifications, tear apart the assessment tasks, and use all the tools you've been given. These are not just suggestions, they are essential resources that will help you get your project requirements right.
It all comes back to that quote from the start. Success depends on an impeccable foundation. Seriously, every single hour you spend planning now will save you countless hours of frustrating debugging later. The quality of your final game is being decided by the work you're doing right now.
So let's get to it. Start your storyboard draft, open a new document, and write your very first logbook entry. Your mission is to make sure that when you ask yourself, "Is my foundation strong enough?" the answer is a confident, absolute yes.